Right, 7R AJS. Miller's first road race bike was a 7R AJS, the earlier model of this. This is the short stroke. Miller had the long stroke. 1950 model it was. Dad bought it for me. I think it was 325 quid. First race Miller ever raced in was the Cookstown 100. They still run the Cookstown 100, Northern Ireland. It was 100 miles then. Today it's only a sprint, 25 miles or something. So there you go, May 1954, that's 70 years ago. So there you go, and there's the winning gathering. That's Father, some of the officials, that's Charlie Gray, who I bought the AJ off. He was semi-works supported, so when he retired from racing, he sold it to Miller, and very successful. Anyway, this is the later model, short stroker. This is quite special because it came from Australia, and the paperwork shows Bill Lacey. So who's Bill Lacey? Well, Bill Lacey tuned for Mike Hailwood and Stan Hailwood. But I used to have great battles with him. Managed to beat him in the Northwest 200, so quite pleased about beating Hailwood. So Bill Lacey, he was a top tuner. Jim and I got to do a lot of research on it because it's got a twin plug head, which is quite rare. But the works bikes, Nortons and AJs, introduced twin plug head for better combustion, because obviously if you've got two spark plugs firing in the combustion chamber, you're going to get a lot more efficiency rather than just one plug. So this is quite rare, twin plug. There you go, that's a nice tank. They've had it repainted at one time, so we can pop that down there. That's about a 5-gallon tank. So this is the twin plug head in here. That's the second plug. The other one's around this side, so you've got one other side of the combustion chamber. The exhaust pipes are bigger bore than standard, which we've got to do some research on also. Engine number is 7R 1964. Don't get misled, because they've finished production in 63, so it just happened that the number is 1964. Lucas mag, Matchbox carburetor, which was rubbish. Can't believe why they ever used them, because if you can, the size of that to feed a big monster 1.5-inch carburetor is just crazy. A little Mickey Mouse float bolt, so that gave them a lot of trouble, but they never ever twigged on what the problem was. It's got cable operated rear brake, whereas most of them had rod, so we've got to do a bit of research on that to see whether it was a Bill Lacey modification. Front brake, bigger air scoop in the front, that's floating about. Jim, we better look at that. Bigger air scoop, that was to keep bit of air in, bit of air out, try to keep the brakes cool. That's all hanging apart, so we'll have to do a lot of work on that. But we're going to strip the whole thing completely apart. I hope it's not on castor oil, because castor oil was the old oil they used to race with, and it was a vegetable oil, and it jams everything up. And if it's in an engine for a long time, it's a serious problem, because all the bearings get glued up, and you've got to literally replace the lot. So I'll be able to use some of my old racing tools on this, because we still got them, Jim. And the first big crash of my life on a 7R, nobody told me because I was only a kid, but when you're racing here, and Miller gets super enthusiastic about going down the straight in the Mid-Antrim 150. So he sides this fast left-hander, he's taking in third. On the third lap, he's going to take it flat on top. In the meantime, going down the straight, he happened to flick that off with his leg. So the whole bike was covered in castor lacquer. So Miller goes into this 120 mile an hour bend, flat in top gear, chin on tank, to get the biggest slide in the world before he demolished the thorn hedge. And ceremoniously, the marshals grabbed the barn door off the latest building, put Miller on the barn door and carried him into the farmhouse. So I was black and blue, but nothing broken, so live and learn. Then I noticed when I went round the other paddocks, they always put a rubber band on those, the men who knew what they were doing. So there you go. So if you're racing a 7R, make sure you got that strapped down well. Right, we're going to the workshop, have a look around the workshop, a few projects going on there. Right, we're progressing with the P&M Sidecar outfit, 1922. As you see, with a big crash job, it was demolished by one of the members of the Vintage Motorcycle Club. So where have we got to? Well, we've straightened all the forks up, straightened the frame, sorted out the tank, had the seat recovered, toolbox sorted out. Jim's been through the engine all sorted out, perfect. The club wanted it done with the 1922 patina, so we've luckily got all the mud guards in the frame and all with the original patina on it. That's a new headlight. That's your old smashed up one. There'd be a severe bit of work trying to sort that out, but luckily exact same, very lucky to have it in the museum. And it hasn't been restored, its original patina, so happy with that. Handlebars have been straightened out. So where have we got to now? Well, we're almost there, but we've got a problem that these tubes have been severely pushed over. The whole thing's pushed that way. That one's right over. This one here is right over. And that one there is jacked that way. So instead of that being vertical, it's cocked over. So what we're going to do, we've made a jig up to push that over, hold that, hydraulic that over a bit, and then we'll, with a lot of heat on here, and then a lot of heat on here, we're going to pull that back vertical, and that should line up. Okay, so that's the next job, getting the chassis lined up. We've managed to do the sidecar body. That, you remember, this was totally demolished, so this is all, that's all brand new. That's one of the damaged panels, so we kept that, and luckily we managed to get the original, almost the original finish back on there. 1922 patina. That's a lovely job, all ready to go. That's for your sidecar lights, so we've got to find one of those too, because that was totally demolished. And inside, all nicely done. So on your next visit, it should be all finished and ready to go. Another day in paradise, so watch this space.